Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and salutations. I hope you're doing well. Here is another video from that strange place where radio and computing come together. I'm going to show you a bash script that I've written, which is a great time saver. It might be useful to you if you're one who uses WebSDR and KiwiSDR internet sites for your shortwave or mediumwave monitoring. Like many of you, I once stored my favorite servers as bookmarks in the web browser. That was great for simple monitoring tasks. As my monitoring interests became a bit more complicated, I realized that the web browser bookmarks had some limitations. Most specifically, when I was monitoring aeronautical frequencies or military traffic, I needed to have multiple windows open to listen on multiple frequencies for an area or a single frequency from different locations. It's time-consuming and tedious to set those up one after another, so I wrote this script to automate the task. What you see here is a basic Ubuntu Linux desktop. I'm using the i3 window manager, and for graphical menus and program launching, an application called Rofi. So the script uses Rofi to present a menu. In the menu are stations and areas of interest. At the top of the list is the Western Atlantic route system. Let's check it out. I select it, and just like that, browser windows start to open. Two browser windows, actually. On the left is the Bottle Branch SDR located in Maryland. On the right is the KiwiSDR located in Wake Forest, North Carolina. Both of these are tuned to 6577 kilohertz. I'm listening from two different locations so that I don't miss any traffic. One of these is better at receiving New York radio. The other one is situated such that it receives aircraft over the Atlantic very nicely. There are some things which still need to be done manually. I'm going to open the control panel and pan audio from the left window to the left ear, and then go to the right window and pan the audio more to the right ear. This way, I'm listening to one frequency in an odd form of pseudo-stereo. It's not perfect because the delays are different between these two SDRs. Things can sound a bit echoey. Often when I make a recording from these, I'll simply split the channels in the audio editor and slide one of them in time and get them correlated so that they sound more like perfect stereo. It's a strange thing, but it works. Okay, I'm going to close these two just to show you that these work very well in the terminal. Let's run it and take a look at it with FZF providing the menu. So here we are. The same list of stations and areas from the bookmark file. Is there anyone besides me who listens to Brother Stare? Brother Stare ain't dead. Well, maybe he's dead, but his voice is going to live for years on HF, as long as people keep sending money to the Overcomer Ministry. Aw, heck. Maybe he is off the air. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Let's close it. Oh my gosh. Not only is Brother Stare off the air, but look at this. What happened to my beautiful nighttime wallpaper? I've gotten a wake-up call. I have gotten a reality check. Oh my gosh. What about you, ladies and gentlemen? Have you gotten your wake-up call? Have you gotten your reality check. All right, enough of this. Let's go and take a look at the script. The script is called SDR Stream, and it's written in Bash. The purpose of the script is to bookmark Kiwi and WebSDR sites and open multiple web browser windows. Channels are contained in a separate bookmarks file you should edit. I have my favorite stations written into my file. For your monitoring, you should write your favorite stations and frequencies into your bookmark file. Set up one channel per line in the file, and the format is the description is first, within double quotes. There's a single space, and then in double quotes is the server information. A channel is focused on one subject of interest: BBC Radio 4, the Western Atlantic Route System, the North Atlantic Tracks, Brother Stare on 5 MHz, Brother Stare on 7, whatever you listen to. A channel can contain one frequency from one server, or a channel can contain two servers, each tuned to the same frequency or tuned to different frequencies. That's okay. Enter the servers as a list of strings separated by a single space, formatted as URL, frequency, mode, and server type. Server URLs contain the domain, subdomain if used, the port number of the SDR, and a trailing slash. Frequencies are in kilohertz. Enter those as an integer or as a floating point number, no more than 2 decimal places. The SDRs cannot take more than 2 decimal places. Use lowercase for the modes: CW, LSB, USB, AM, DRM. The preferred AM mode is synchronous AM. That works on the KiwiSDR servers. I'll tell you now that the WebSDR servers default to standard envelope detection AM because only one is synchronous capable. I would really like to see those upgraded so that they all have the capability of receiving synchronous AM, but there does not seem to be much of a rush to make that happen. CW mode will default to upper sideband with a 750 Hz offset and a bandpass of 550 to 950 kHz. Actually, this is how the KiwiSDRs are set up for CW. I'll tell you now that the WebSDRs by default use lower sideband, but they still use a 750 Hz offset, so CW sounds the same on either type of server. Extended single sideband is set up for an 8 kHz bandpass. Extended single sideband should be designated as LSBW for lower sideband wide, or USBW, that's for wide upper sideband. This is useful if you frequently listen to the high fidelity single sideband operators in the amateur bands, or if you monitor shortwave or mediumwave broadcasts and don't want to use the synchronous detector, you can use the single sideband receiver in wide mode. DRM is available and is set for a 10 kHz bandpass. Server types are Kiwi for KiwiSDR or Web for WebSDR. Let's talk about the bookmark syntax. It's pretty simple. There's a description in plain language within double quotes, a space, and server data within double quotes. If you use two servers, then make a space and put your second server data within double quotes. Here are some examples. The Western Atlantic routes, plain language, and then the second group is server data. The URL is the Raleigh transworldradiomonitor.net port 8073. Use the / frequency 6577. Notice that this one is a decimal. 2 decimal places. The SDRs just don't care about more. So either use an integer or 1 or 2 decimal places. The mode is upper sideband. The type is KiwiSDR. The second server for this channel is the Bottle Branch Proxy, KiwiSDR. Port 8073, frequency 6577, upper sideband, and it is also a KiwiSDR. If you want, you can mix and match these. You can put a KiwiSDR on a channel and maybe have a WebSDR for the other server. That's okay. Here's an example of a WebSDR, and it's just a single server, BBC Radio 4. The WebSDR is the one over in the Netherlands, the very nice flagship server. This is the one with synchronous AM, by the way. Frequency 198. Mode AM. Type WebSDR. So that's the syntax for anything that you put in the bookmarks file. Now, continuing down, here's where the script starts to do its job. We need to specify the web browser command. So, browser equals, if we're using Vivaldi, it's Vivaldi, new window. I'm using Firefox, so the command is Firefox, and there is a single argument, which is new window. The next variable, which is defined in the script, is the bookmarks file. You can put the bookmarks file anywhere you want. On my system, I have it in a directory called bash. It's in my home folder. The file name is SDR stream bookmarks. Those are the two variables that every user should define when they first download the script and start setting it up. Obviously, you'll want to build up a bookmarks file, but definitely make sure you put the path to that file here, and whatever browser you use, find out the command that you would issue in the terminal to bring up that browser with a new window. Okay, now we're going to go to some other code, which is generally not for users to mess with. I put a caution in here to remind everyone, if you mess around with this code, be careful because you could break the script. There's a function here called start radio. That's the function. It does a lot of work. I don't want to talk about it just yet. We need to define some more variables and go through the initial action of the script first. So the next thing that actually happens when you run the script is it reads the bookmarks file. It creates an array variable, and the name of it is channels. Then the script opens a menu. If you call this script with one argument, GUI, then Rofi comes up. Rofi presents you with the menu. That's what this is. That's the graphical mode. If you operate in the terminal, FZF comes up, and that's the menu that you see. Either way, you move through the menu, pick the station or area that you want to monitor, and enter that. Depending on what mode you're in, whether graphical or in the terminal command line mode, it creates a command to show the menu. It actually doesn't show it to you yet. Here's where the action is. The script creates a variable called choice. This is your choice. And it gets that by running that command. It shows you the menu and you select something. When you select something, the choice variable is created. If you choose nothing, if it doesn't exist because you either hit the escape button or you didn't choose anything, if you're operating in the terminal, you'll see a message, no selection made. The script is exiting. If you're operating in the graphical mode with Rofi, you don't see anything. The script simply disappears. Poof. But if you do make a choice, well then this variable is defined and it is used in creation of another variable called check. Here's what happens. The script will go through all of the channels in the bookmarks file again, and it will search for a match. It will try to match what you chose. When it finds a match, it puts that information in this variable called check. And it then moves to the next step. We're going to look at that variable called check. And it goes through it with awk. Awk looks for field number 4. Here's what happens. Awk uses a delimiter, double quotes. That's how it splits up that variable. And it looks for the 4th field. The 4th field is the first server data. It takes that and it goes into the start radio function. It's going to go into the start radio function and figure out what the mode is, upper sideband, lower sideband, whatever. It's going to define the filter bandpass for the KiwiSDR sites, waterfall zoom on the Kiwis. Most of that work involves the Kiwis. And it's going to create the proper browser command and URL and open up a window so that you can enjoy that SDR. If you have defined 2 servers, it'll do the first one and then it will come back and do it again and run back up there with the data from the second server, which is going to be field number 6. It's going to take that second server's data and run into the start radio function, split everything up, decide what's what, open a browser, and present you with that second server. Now, what happens? We have this variable called field with a whole bunch of separate elements inside of it. That is what is sent to the start radio function. And we divide it up. We call those little parts inside of that variable, we call them targets. So for target in field, do something. Here's what we do. Define the URL, frequency, the mode, the server type. This here, this dummy, is just a technical way of telling this command that there's nothing more after server type. The list is finished. Don't throw an error back at us. We just want these items here, and then quit. So it gets that. What happens next is the mode is converted to lowercase. If the user put in capital letters for AM, upper, lower, sideband, whatever, that's all converted to lowercase to make things pretty and uniform. If the mode is AM and the server type is a Kiwi, then go to the server with synchronous AM mode and set the bandpass to go from -4,000 Hertz to +4,000 Hertz in reference to the carrier frequency. So plus and minus 4,000 Hertz, that's an 8 kilohertz filter. Should sound very nice. The zoom for the waterfall is set to 10. If the mode has been put into the bookmarks file as AM sync and the server type is WebSDR, for example, if someone was listening to their favorite station on that server in the Netherlands and using AM sync, it's not something that we want to use. It might work on that one server in the Netherlands, but for standardization, we're going to change that mode to standard envelope detection AM. If the mode is CW and the server type is Kiwi, then we're going to use upper sideband and set the bandpass to cover the range 550 Hertz to 950 Hertz. The frequency is going to be changed. We'll take whatever was in the bookmark file, subtract 750 Hertz. That's how we set the CW offset. Set the zoom to 13. So that's how we configure the KiwiSDR for CW. If the mode is DRM, set the bandpass to a 10 kilohertz wide filter, -5K to +5K, zoom 10. Lower sideband, set it up for a bandpass, -3500 to 100 Hertz, zoom 13. Upper sideband, 100 Hertz up to 3500 Hertz, zoom 13. Now, for some people, this may be a bit too wide. This is perfect for military communications on the night watch net, the ground stations sending those EAM broadcasts fit this bandpass. If you are going to stay just in the amateur bands or listen to narrower signals, you can always edit this script and change it to maybe 2500 Hertz or 3000 on the high end, and you can move this lower end up to 200 or 300 Hertz. Make it sound like a telephone if you want. So lower and upper sideband are similar band passes as far as the width. They simply are either below, or in this case for upper sideband, they're above the carrier. Lower sideband wide. This goes from -8,000 to 10 cycles per second below the carrier. If we're using upper sideband wide, then we go from 10 to 8,000 Hertz. That's 10 Hertz for the lower part of the filter edge and up to 8,000. This comma separates the lower edge and the upper edge of the filter bandpass. So for upper sideband wide, set the zoom to 10. Set the mode on the server to upper sideband. Now, after all of that is done, this script will then open a browser window and the URL sent to the server. If it's a KiwiSDR server, then it's URL, and this matter of syntax, $F equals, then the frequency, and a slash mark, and the bandpass mode and zoom. If the server is a WebSDR, then send the browser command. In my case, it's Firefox new window. That's the browser command. And the URL argument is a little bit shorter than for the KiwiSDRs. It is simply the base URL and tune equals, and the frequency and the mode. That's what's sent to the WebSDR server. And that's the end of the start radio function. Again, if it's just one server on the channel, it does that and the script is finished with its work. If you have two servers set up, then it will open the first window and then get data for the second server and open another browser window. And after doing that, you should have two or one browser windows open, tuned to the frequency that you want. If it's a KiwiSDR, the waterfall will be at the proper zoom, and you'll have exactly the bandpass filtering that you want. So it's a beautiful thing. Let's have a little fun here as I wrap things up. SDR stream. Let's check the North Atlantic track system. Just like that. Select it. Get a couple of windows open. In this case, my tiling window manager has provided windows above and below one another. No problem. A couple of keystrokes and I have them set up properly side by side. Audio, pan the left one to the left. Audio, pan the right one to the right. Is there anything going on tonight on those frequencies? There's a distinct possibility that things are quiet. It's now early Saturday morning. Maybe there's not a whole lot going on. Apparently, no signals are coming in Scotland or in Canada. Just a bit of noise. That's how it is sometimes. This monitoring consists of quite a lot of waiting. Often there's nothing to see. While I'm completely bummed that I wasn't able to hear Brother Stare earlier, let's try one more time. One more time. And see if he's on. During the summertime in North America, the 7 megahertz band doesn't really shut down at night. It doesn't close. There are always signals on. So let's take a look. I'm very happy that this script will work with KiwiSDR and WebSDR servers. This is a good one. Signals are pretty strong here on 7570. Not bad at all. Anyhow, that's it. I hope this is useful to you. You can find the script on GitHub. I'll leave the URL in the description. Happy hunting, and I'll see you again sometime in the future in another video. Ciao, ciao.